Hey, my beautiful friends. Happy summertime. Wow, we are into June. I cannot believe that. If you're new here, my name is Gina, and I am the creative here on YouTube behind Create and Daydream. I also have an Instagram account that is also Create and Daydream. And today I am bringing you one of my favorite projects, if not my favorite project, besides Word Nerd of the year. It is summer camp, which has been called Revival Camp with Illustrated Faith, and this year it is called Truth Camp. It's the 6th annual one, and I'm going to be sharing you Truth Trails. It's the digital collection by Brave Little Taylor that goes with the devotional for the next 2 months. So we have June's devotional set, and we're going to get July's devotional set. Summer camp with Illustrated Faith is 2 months, so it's super awesome. And my sweetheart of a friend and who I get to create for, Taylor, Brave Little Taylor on Instagram, she created this awesome collection to go with Truth Camp, and it is called Truth Trails. So let me share about it now. Okay, did you hear me almost lose my breath? I get so excited about things that I just, I lose my breath. I lose my train of thought. Anyways, okay, so this collection is 3 sets. There is a set of ephemera, which you're looking at right now. How cute are these little hikers? So these are reminiscent of her set for Word Nerd, which was one of my absolute favorite sets of hers ever, these little characters. And now they're hiking through the Truth Camp in the summertime, and I love it so much. There's 3 pages in the ephemera set, and let me share Taylor's heart behind it, which says, inspired by a summer hike through the wilderness, Truth Trails features camping kiddos and all kinds of outdoorsy goodies. Created by Taylor, this set works as a standalone set or as a supplement to Truth Camp, Illustrated Faith's Summer 2022 study. So let's strap on our backpacks, grab our map, and hit the trail to walk by the truth of Jesus. And yes, ma'am, I am in. So as you can see, she has journaling bits. She's got 2 little badges that have Bible verses on them. She's got the little round Truth Camp that could represent the 4 weeks. And then she has all those little kiddos like walking through the wilderness. It's just so darling. And if you don't know who Taylor is, that picture of her that I'm keeping on the screen, that is her. She's such a beautiful lady, friend, mama, wife. I adore her so much. So now let's jump into her second set in this collection. It is called Truth Trail Pics. This is a 2-page set, and the heart behind it is, well, I should say what Taylor wrote behind it or for it is Truth Trail Pics features wilderness photography and scripture cards. These vintage Polaroid snaps make great layering pieces and picture images from national parks and other outdoor scenes, mountains, rivers, waterfalls, and more. This set was created to also coordinate with Truth Camp Illustrated Faith's Summer 2022 study. And I think it's so cute. I love that she put some color in it. It's the border, and then some of them have Bible verses on them, and then some of them are plain, and then some of them are just straight Polaroids. And a lot of us are loving layering right now, so they're going to be fantastic. And now here are the papers. You cannot do this set without the papers. I love them so much. I love the color of summer camp this month or this year. Last year was real bright. This time we're really getting into like the woodsy looking colors, and the paper that Taylor made is awesome. I had a really hard time trying to pick out what my cover was going to be for my book. And you're not seeing things. I have some stuff printed on clear Mako sticker paper, and then I have a set printed on white cardstock, and then I also have a set printed on white sticker paper. So here's the entire collection. There are 3 pages of digital papers that you can pick up. There are 2 pages of the Truth Trail Pics, so that is another set you can pick up. And then obviously you do not want to go without the Truth Trails ephemera. It has some journaling bits in it. It has all this darling wilderness stuff, and just remember, you can print this out as many times as you want. I think sometimes people kind of forget that. Like, you'll see me printing out this over and over because I want to use up a lot of it, and Here we go. There's Taylor. There's the Truth Camp patch that's still available. And now let's jump into what I'm creating for the cover of my Truth Camp book and how I'm going to be studying this summer. Okay, so if you've been following me, you are seeing a bright blue mat, which I don't know why I never turned over my green mat or my black mat, because this beautiful blue is in the background and it just like brightens up my screen. So you're probably going to see that a lot. Here I'm just showing you a couple ways you can do this. This was my Word Nerd. My Word Nerd book from last year, and as you can see, that little cute girl is reminiscent of the girls that they've done now, or she's done now, that Taylor's done now. And what I ended up doing is I pulled this is just a basic art journal. I had pulled out some painting that I did in it, so it holds up to acrylic painting. And I only had like 6 pages done in it, and I've decided I'm going to use this for Truth Camp this year. So I'm going to get this paper cut, and then we're going to speed up and I'm going to jump in and show you how I put together my cover. Okay, so I'm almost 100% certain that I picked this up at Michael's and it was under $5. If I can find it, and I will link it below. I know they have bigger art journals, which you could always use one of those. This is about a 5x7. I will put the exact size below. And now, because it's like a cork cover, so it is actually like this cork material, so I decided that I would cover it with paper just a little bit, because I think that it will stick really nicely to this cork. So I'm taking a piece of Taylor's paper. I didn't cut these in half because I knew that I wanted to add or I wanted to use them with part of the other side of the pattern paper showing. And in this case, it is the stripes, and I'm using the blue trees as the background. And I just think it looks so cute. So before and I don't know what happened there. I don't know why my lighting got darker, so I apologize for that. But before I like glue all this down, I'm going to get this entire thing done ahead of time off of the book. So I decided that I wanted to mount it on black paper. I came from the scrapbook world, and that's something that I like to do a lot, is mount things. I don't necessarily do it all the time, but in this case I wanted to kind of bring it up off of the cork, so the black paper, just a little tiny edge of it, will look nice there. And in this case, I don't have exact measurements. I just eyeball things. When I know I just want to put a little bit of a trim around something, I'll line it up in the corner of the page. That was an 8.5 by 11 piece of black cardstock, and I'll just line it up in the corner of the page, and then I'll cut down the other 2 sides. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to come in and stitch over this, so that's another reason it doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm just testing out to see if I want to add the black around Truth Camp, which I end up doing, so we'll jump ahead to that. Okay, so I mounted Truth Camp, and it has the rounded edges, so I'm using my little, I believe this is Memory Keepers, and it has 3 different sizes for the rounded edges, so I just kind of pick one that looks good enough. Sometimes I'll just cut it, but because this is going to be my cover, I do want it to look as nice as possible. And just so you know, like if you've already like set up a book for Truth Camp, you can always come in and put a cover on later. Like this is something I could have done at the very end if I wanted to. I just wanted to kick off this project with something creative, especially when I saw Taylor's collection. I wanted to jump right into it. So now I'm just showing you, I'm going to come in and stitch around the edges of this paper to add a little bit more dimension to it, and it turned out so cute. I had a little bit of a rough time with my sewing machine, hence all the thread on there, but I just went around the very edge and I stitched that twice, and then where the 2 patterns meet, I did a crisscross. I believe that's what it's called. Oh no, a zigzag stitch. And now my thought is I'm going to lift this up, and I want to be able to tie my book closed. Even though it's kind of thick, I still thought it would be a cute idea, so I grabbed some jute, and I'm going to measure that out, and I'll give you an idea on how much I used. This took me a really long time to actually figure out, so I don't want to keep you guys watching it for that long. So we're going to kind of jump ahead, but I'll make sure I keep the key parts in there. Okay, so because I want to wrap the book, I wanted to pop up the pieces that the jute's going to go under. I don't want the jute to be over anything on the front of the book because I don't want to take away from that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use pop dots, or I'm going to come in with a foam strip. It's the same thing. And I'm just getting an idea right now of where I want the jute to go underneath and how it's going to tie. And if you see me clapping my hands, that means I've figured it out. So I think that might be one of the hardest parts, is just figuring out where you want your pieces to go. You know, like it's cool to watch a video if you like someone's stuff and then just to duplicate it and to lift it. And I think that's totally fine, as long as you don't claim it as your own. But sometimes it can take me hours just to figure out where to put like 5 little pieces. So now we're on to how I'm going to lift this up. And right now I'm using pop dots. And let me tell you, I've been using pop dots for as long as I can remember. And I just watched a live from one of my friends, and she used foam roll, which is the same exact thing, but it's on a roll and you just cut off however much you need. So just know that there's foam roll out there. I bought some on Amazon and it's fantastic. So if you've never heard of it, now you've heard of it. So now I'm just kind of measure out how I want this jute to go in here. And I also should mention that you can use ribbon in here. You can use jute, I guess, is twine. You know, you could use yarn. You can use anything you want. Anything that you have that you like, you can put in here. And it's really cool when you put it underneath something. So I've done this before to tie up projects, and I'm just going to look at this now and figure out how I'm going to do this. Initially, I just was not using my brain, and I was thinking I was going to wrap all of this all the way around the book, which you don't want that, because you don't want to have to be unraveling the book every single time you open it up. So I come to my senses here in a minute, and I realize, oh yeah, let's just do it on one side, and the other side is just going to have one little piece hanging out. So you're going to see me fix that. I left that in there just so you guys don't make the same mistake if you want to do this. So we are definitely keeping it real on my channel, because I am not a perfectionist and I'm learning as I go sometimes as well. So what I ended up doing was I cut about 4 feet of this jute twine, and I centered it on the left hand side where the paper is, and I wrapped around 3 times. That way I had 3 times wrapped around the paper, and then my last wrap, which isn't even on here yet, will be with another piece of twine. So I'm taking this, I tighten it up a little bit. Here I'm just writing my notes to center it on the left side. So like you wrap a present and you wrap from the bottom, that's how you do it, or you wrap your ribbon from the bottom, you are going to start wrapping from that left side. And once I get that in place, I'm going to stitch those 3 pieces down. So now the jute is stitched to my cardstock. That way it's not going anywhere. It's not going to rip that side. It's not going to be pulled from that side. And now I'm just going to come back and make sure it's centered over here. I'm going to tie this up over here a little bit, and that's ultimately going to end up staying tied at the end. And the only part that's not going to be tied at all times will be the part that I tie shut. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll try to explain it here. I'm taking a little clip. That's a sewing clip, but you could put like a binder clip or something like that. And I'm just making sure that it's in the spot that I want it to be before I put my ephemera down, which is the pieces that I have put up on pop dots or on the foam roll in this case. So I want that to be underneath and look pretty seamless. And also, I think I said I'm not a perfectionist. I meant to say I'm not a professional. I'm trying to not be a perfectionist and make everything perfect. So I'm saying I'm definitely not a professional YouTuber. I'm definitely not professional crafter or anything like that. I'm learning as I go. I just love to do it. And I'm not talking too much really at all about scripture in this video, because this is just the creative part. So on Monday nights, in June and July, Taylor's going to go live on the Illustrated Faith feed, and she's going to talk about her mini devotional for that week. And I'm going to do that with her. So you'll see me on the lives, and then I'm going to take notes, and then I'm going to create after that. I definitely am one that I like to read and study and then create, unless it's something like this where I'm prepping for it. So this is just kind of my prep, my little creative, let's jump into it, prep book, and then I'll get into the study portion, and after the study portion I'll do the creative. So again, if you're doing Truth Camp, I would 100% go over to Illustrated Faith and watch Taylor's lives. They're always saved. Everything that Illustrated Faith does live, they save it. They're fantastic like that, and it will be totally worth it. So, okay, this is what the back looks like, and now you're going to see me cutting big pieces of the foam roll, and I'm gonna end up cutting 4 pieces and putting 4 pieces down, and I'm gonna stick it onto this cork type material. And there I was just like, oh, please let it work, let me cross my fingers. So I'm pulling it up, it ends up working out really nice, and I'm super happy I came up with this idea. I was gonna wrap a traveler's notebook in paper, which I've done in the past, and that's another good idea. Like if you have a traveler's notebook that you don't like the cover, wrap it with new paper. I got one from Illustrated Faith, but I love the paper, so I want to use it for a different project. And now you're just seeing how I'm tying this up on the end. So I have a couple extra pieces here. I end up just using the 2 that wrap completely around, but I come up with like a cute little way, and I'm going to add some beads in there, so you'll probably see that in another video. So y'all, if you made it this far, thank you so much. This is just me covering my book for Truth Camp. Everything I talked about will be linked below. If you do this, tag me on Instagram, let me know, leave me a comment, and I hope that you're all well. Know that you're loved. God bless each and every single one of you.